Good morning. Welcome back to my channel, Retire Abroad Finance. My name is Martha, and I'm coming to you from our Airbnb in Croatia today. And today I wanted to actually talk about the test trip that we took this past spring. And if you don't know what a test trip is, it is when you are thinking of doing something like what we are doing, which is slow traveling in our retirement, spending a month in each location before we move on. Before we actually did go ahead and sell our home and everything else, we had planned out a test trip, and it was approximately 7 weeks of traveling. And out of that 7 weeks, we did a cruise for little over 2 weeks. We stayed in one country for 1 month, and then we were in a couple of other countries for a shorter period of time. So, this video today is to go over our test trip and what it actually cost us, and some of the methods that I used to save us some money. So I actually have my sheet here. I have the items hidden. We'll uncover them as we get to them, but you can see I have the travel category, or I have it called travel item here, the cost of what I estimated, what we paid, and if I was able to save anything. Now, for our 7 week budget, I gave us $10,000. That's a lot more than what we have for our current budget traveling, which is $4,000 a month. The reason why I gave us $10,000 was because we were doing several big ticket flights, or, there was a cruise in there all at once, which you wouldn't normally do slow traveling. But we wanted to see if, for example, a repositioning cruise would work for us. Our first cruise experience was many years ago, and it was not a good experience. I won't go into it here, but I think my husband was okay with maybe cruising again, but I wasn't. And so this was really a test to see um, if we could use cruising to reposition us, say from Australia to the United States, or, between the United States and Europe, anything like that. We wanted to see if that was even an option for us. So let's go ahead and get into this. So the first thing we did was we had a 1 day over in Tampa. We were on the east coast of Florida. That's where we lived. And so we decided to rent a car rather than taking a bus, one way. And then we had one night in a hotel and dinner. And so, as you can see, that whole um, travel day only cost us $100 for the car. Um, we used a free night that I had with IHG, uh, and we used uh, United Healthcare. Uh, you have a gift card. If you exercise, you can earn money. So we used that for our dinner that day. So that was that. Next, we boarded a cruise. It was a 16-night cruise. It left out of Tampa and disembarked in Rome, Italy. So that got us from the US to Europe, and took 2 weeks plus a few days of our time. It fed us, it entertained us, it transported us. So the cruise of itself, the cost was $2,667. I got us a upgraded ocean view cabin. So, it was a little bit more than if we'd done an inside cabin. You can do that and save money. Now, I saved us $1,400 on that because I had two T-Mobile gift cards from us switching over to T-Mobile from Verizon. So I used those gift cards on the cruise, which means the cruise actually cost us $1,267. We spent approximately $300 on board on drinks and whatnot. We did get internet, but my company paid for that, so that's not showing in this list at all. And we did do two different tours. We did a hop on, hop off bus in Barcelona, Spain, and in Cartagena. We paid a taxi driver to take us around. I had seen a video where this same taxi driver had given this fantastic tour and they provided his contact info. So I contacted him on WhatsApp and he was more than happy to meet us and take us around. And that experience for four of us, there was another couple that did it with us, came to $51 and he gave an amazing tour. He was wonderful. So, anyway, that was the cost there. So, in that cruise, I ended up saving us $1,400 on the gift cards. So now we've landed in Rome and we only had 3 days in Rome and not full days. We had the most of the first day that we arrived. And then we had the second day was a full day. And the third day, we actually headed out to the airport in the early afternoon. So, for the next leg of our trip. So, first of all, I got us a hotel room over by the Vatican at the Crown Plaza. I have a review here. I will link it. And for the Rome hotel, I used additional free nights that I had at IHG. So it did not cost us 1 cent at that hotel. Now, for food, I had planned $75 a day for food in Rome. Rome is very expensive. As it turned out, we ate more in our neighborhood. We really didn't spend much time in the tourist areas of Rome at all. And so food only cost us, this is food, coffee, any drinks, anything like that, only cost us $134. So that is such a good deal. Very pleased with that. For tours, we did do a wine tour to a nearby smaller city named Frascati. There's a video about that, which I will link here. But that was an amazing experience, and that only cost us $170 total. Our transportation costs, however, were a lot more than what I had estimated. Part of that was because we paid for the train to and from Frascati. That's where the tour began, was there. So we had to get there. So we had train tickets to and from Frascati. We had a couple of Uber rides that we felt were necessary at the time. Those were expensive. It's expensive to Uber in Rome. Other than that, we did buy 3-day bus passes and we used the buses and the metro. Actually, it wasn't just 3-day public transportation passes, not bus passes. So we had 3 days that we could use the trains within Rome, the buses, or the metro. And we used each and really loved the transportation system. It was efficient, it was very easy to use. So overall, our transportation costs were a lot higher than what I had estimated, but I was still pleased with the what we got for it. So next we went on to Chiang Mai. We paid for the flight there in full. Our lodging, the 897, is actually 3 different places in 1 month. I've talked about this in my Thailand cost video, which I will link also above. But we did double book 9 out of 29 nights in Thailand because we wanted to also see the beach town of Hua Hin. So, we initially booked the full month at one hotel in the old city in Chiang Mai, which was lovely. I have reviews for everything here, so I'll just go ahead and link all of these videos below. That was 597, excuse me, 584 for the hotel in Old City, Chiang Mai. We were in Hua Hin for 5 days. That was 153. And then when we came back, we decided we wanted to try out the newer part of the city and see what the experience was there. And so we did, I think it was 4 nights, 4 or 5 nights at a condo right near the Maya Mall, which is kind of a frou-frou area of town. And the 4 nights was 160. So our total for lodging in Thailand was 897, including double booking 9 nights. So that was fantastic. The food for Thailand, I planned on $20 a day for us. And, we love Thai food. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I was cooking a Thai curry at least 3 times a week for the past many years. I don't even know how many years. My kids grew up loving Thai curry. So we ate a lot of local food, and only occasionally did we go out and get something different. We ate food off the street. We went into the malls, and in the lower levels of the malls in the basement, what we would consider the basement in the US, they'd have big food courts. And so the food was it was just incredibly amazing. It was not expensive at all for local food. Once we went out and got a burger, that was a little bit more expensive, but still not anywhere close to what we would pay in the US. So we ended up only spending $10 a day for all of our food and our coffee in Thailand. It was an amazing deal. Next, tours. So in this figure, it's actually tours and entertainment. We did do an elephant sanctuary tour, and that included, my two grandsons and my daughter. And we did a tuk-tuk tour. Day 3 or 4 that we got there, Lou and I went around in tuk-tuk and saw or many, not all, you can't see all, I don't think there's so many, um, of the larger temples within Old City, Chiang Mai, and we also went to the Silver Temple, which is outside of the Old City. Um, and then also, I've included some massages that Lou took for a shoulder issue. He was trying to get a therapeutic treatment for a shoulder issue, and the masseuse wanted to see him every day for a while, so I included those in here. So 342, uh, the flight to and from Wahin was 230 total for the two of us, so $115 round trip each. And then we did take a few Ubers. I hadn't planned anything for it because we were going to walk, but it was very hot and we had our grandsons with us, and so we did take some Ubers. And then we did do a little bit of shopping. We got some clothes. We got some little like over the shoulder bags type things. So that was a lot of fun. So that was Thailand. Next, we moved to Malaga, Spain. So we had a flight to Malaga. That was 1541 that we did pay full price for. We stayed in Malaga. I actually had purchased IHG points to do that. So when you purchase points, if you do it during their buy one, get one sale, then the points work out to a half a cent each. So by using points for my stay instead of paying cash, I ended up saving half of what the cost would have been. It was a brand new IHG hotel. Again, I have a review. I will link it below. The location was absolutely perfect for us. It was close enough to walk into town, but it was in a neighborhood that was really lovely. It was a green zone, and there were local restaurants that we ate at that were well out of the tourist zone, so they were very reasonable. The food was excellent, people were friendly, streets very safe, nice wide sidewalks, just lovely. So, what it actually cost us to stay for I think it was 5 nights in Malaga was $470 as opposed to what it would have cost if we had paid for that with cash, 970. Now, in Malaga, again, I had planned for $50 a day for food. I knew that we would be able to eat more local. uh, I do speak Spanish, and so I felt very, very comfortable with going into, the tapas bars, that were well out of the tourist areas, or, going to a restaurant or whatnot. Plus, our hotel did have breakfast included. So I only budgeted about $50 a day for food in Malaga. What it actually cost us was far, far less. We only spent maybe $20, $25 a day for food in Malaga. And again, our hotel included breakfast, so we didn't have to pay for that. And then lastly, in Malaga, transportation to and from the airport. was $10 I had budgeted for because I figured we'd take the bus back. We decided to be kind and not do that. And so it ended up costing us $43 in Uber rides, and we Ubered to and from the airport. Okay, so the last part of our trip was a flight back to Orlando. I did actually use points for this flight, saving us $1,200. So when you use points to book a flight, you still have to pay for taxes and fees. That came to $218. We flew Air Lufthansa back, and overall, it was a pretty good experience. So we had an 18-hour layover in Munich, and we decided to use in a final free night that I had on my IHG account, saving us $203. We stayed at a hotel that was a ways from the airport, and we honestly did not understand the difference, or I didn't understand the distance between the airport and Munich. It's far. I did not understand that. I was thinking maybe an hour, so if we stayed halfway at the airport hotel, we would only have a half an hour into town, and that just was not the case. Even where we stayed, it was going to be over an hour, I think an hour and a half to get into Munich, and that just wasn't something we were interested in doing. But regardless, I thought, okay, we'll stay in the hotel one night, go into Munich, and then come back for the 3 o'clock p.m. flight back to the States for the connection. So regardless, we went to the hotel. That was free for us. We walked into the closest little town to the airport. It was a really nice walk, and we had an absolutely delicious meal. So food and drink in Munich, I had planned uh, for just basically a big splurge day in Munich. I knew it was going to be expensive. What we actually did was we had a wonderful meal, which was a little bit over $50, and then we did have a beer and coffee at the airport, and I think a pretzel, which was very expensive. That was 16. So, our hotel did include breakfast. So, it was an expensive day for one day, but we did get to see a little bit of the German countryside, which was nice. And then our Uber to and from the airport was expensive, very expensive. Germany's expensive. That's okay. So let's look at the totals here. Remember, the budget was $10,000 for us to be able to do this. So the total I had calculated would be $12,000 if we paid for the whole thing in cash. Instead, it was actually 7,900 because I was able to use points for hotel rooms, for flights. We had the gift cards for half of the cruise. So we really did get some help with that, stretched our dollars. And then I also have a breakdown here, excluding travel, what each location or mode of transportation actually cost us. So the cruise, 17 days, and it was an average of $66.51 a day. And this is again not including flights now. Italy, 3 days, average of $148 a day. Remember, this is Rome, so that's actually a very good price. Um, and then Thailand, 29 days at an average of $59 a day. Spain, 5 days at an average of $128 a day. Germany, 1 day for $129. And our flights in total came to $3,622. So again, this is not the same as slow travel. This is just a test trip of us testing out a couple different modes of transportation, challenging ourselves with public transportation in different cities, staying a whole month in one country and seeing if we liked it. So it is not the same thing at all. but I did show that, we could do it affordably. Now, couple of notes. If you are actually slow traveling, you're probably not going to be doing a flight to Chiang Mai from Europe and then a flight back to Europe in the same month. It's just not going to happen if you are doing the conventional method of slow travel, which is where you travel to a region and then you stay in that region for several months, traveling around that region. We went from region to region back to first region. So, that is very expensive to do. Within the space of a month and a half, we did a cruise and two long haul flights, actually three uh, long haul flights, which came to $4,241, even with booking one with points and using gift cards on the cruise. So, how this looks here is not representative of a slow travel quarter, let's say 3-month period in a region. It's just not representative. I finally got this video out. Sorry it took so long, but giving the full cost for our test trip. So if you have any questions on this, if you want to hear more about how to use points for travel, go ahead and leave it in the comments and maybe I'll do a video about that. But in any case, I hope that this was informative. I hope you enjoyed it and please like and subscribe. Otherwise, have a nice weekend.